Hey guys, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy right now, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you my process for setting up 3 different bullet journal trackers. This first one that you're looking at right now is my March monthly setup, and then later in the video I'll show you my AP exam study schedule setup and my monthly setup for April. To start off this March setup, I'm lettering the title for the month, which is, obviously March. I know the names of the months. This is the same lettering style that I've been using throughout all of my Plan With Me videos, which is lettering the name in a colored brush pen, and then using a black brush pen and a black pen to add a drop shadow effect. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing a video tutorial for this style of lettering, or for, any other styles of lettering. Similar to that title ideas video that I made quite a while ago, I'll link it in the cards and description. Below the main title, I'm starting off by setting my goals for the month. And these are all based on the yearly goals setup that I showed y'all in my 2020 Plan With Me. Once again, another video that I will link in the description. Below my goals, I'm also writing down the habits that I want to be doing daily this month. My goals and habits lists are basically ways for me to break down my larger year-long goals into smaller actionable steps. A goal is like a specific milestone that I want to be on that road to the bigger goal, while the habits are things I can do every single day that are like taking steps, rather than just being a milestone marker like a goal. It's not like one is any better than the other, they're just different ways of making progress towards a larger goal. Now, I set up this bullet journal tracker at the very end of February, which honestly feels like a lifetime ago. And at that time, my outlook on what life was going to be like was very different. So in this little calendar at the top, I'm using a color coding system to mark down the days when I have a track meet and the days when I have a college decision coming out. Little did I know that on March 13th, my entire school life would be shut down because my school was shut down. My entire county got put on shelter in place. As a result, I didn't really use this setup much because most of those event calendars didn't apply, and I kind of fell off my goals and habits because it felt like my entire life had been appended and just nothing really applied to me anymore. Even as everything else in my life kind of fell apart and came to an end, one thing that was not about to stop was the imminent arrival of AP testing. So in this setup, I'm revising the previous AP study schedule I had made. That old plan is that grid page that you keep seeing me flip to right now, and that plan was based on when I thought the exams were going to be and what question types and question topics would show up on those exams. However, once I had heard the announcements that everything had been rescheduled to 45-minute online tests that were 100% free response question and didn't include the units that would generally come at the end of the year, I decided to just completely change my study schedule. And honestly, this schedule is also still a giant mess, work in progress kind of thing. I tried to put together a fairly general framework. As you can see from that little checklist up there, my main goal for each study session, which each study session would take place for about 1 to 2 hours on each weekday, I would review a free response question from every topic and maybe do some additional reading for my Gov class. Since at my school, AP Gov is a semester-long class, and therefore I'd only been in that class for like 6 to 10 weeks, I'm guesstimating, before everything got shut down. So I was even more behind than College Board thought I was because of the way that AP Gov was scheduled at my school. So after I set up that general framework of my daily routine, which includes a color-coded number system corresponding with each subject and each type of studying, I then added a box that would schedule out the entire week in more detail. So for example, under the number 1 stats column, I have a space where I can fill in the question numbers that I want to do on each day. So you can see me filling that out right now. I'm flipping through the prep books that I borrowed from the library and just writing in, I want to do, let's say, question number 2 that's on page 149. I don't know, I'm just making that up because my preview screen while I'm recording this voiceover is a little bit small and I can't read what question numbers I am writing down. Most of my study plan for this new online AP test system is to just do past free response questions from older AP tests and hope that that will suffice. Since in my classes, I've already gone over most of the content, so I don't really need to do much content self-studying, besides for AP Gov, of course. And in that case, I will be reading the textbook and watching those online AP live stream lectures. Besides that, I don't really know what the heck I'm doing right now. My main goal for all of this is just to learn all of the content as best as I can. I'm hoping that if I know everything, even if the question types are something completely out of left field, something I've never heard of before, it won't matter as much about the question type if I just A, know the information, and B, know how to think it through, think critically, think on my feet, just know things, hopefully. That's the goal, to know things. After this first initial setup, I did end up revising my study plan quite a bit, not necessarily the overall structure, but I changed a lot the types of questions that I was doing. Since most of these books, while they are very helpful, aren't presenting the scoring guidelines in the same helpful way that the College Board does with their FRQs. For example, in the AP Gov sections, they would have the questions and an example answer, but not necessarily a scoring rubric. Whereas on the College Board websites for their FRQ scoring guidelines, they'll tell you, award the point if they mention this, do not award the point if they forget to include this, etc., etc. And you can see now that this is from 2 weeks later after I made that initial setup. And now I'm setting up this last rectangle for the third week of my AP studying regime. At this point, I have completely converted over to doing exclusively the official free response questions that have been released by College Board on their websites, along with the official scoring guides. Except for AP French, I'm still using the prep book since it has many, many more cultural comparison prompts than available on the AP website. Right now, I still have no idea what the heck this new format's going to be, but I'm going to focus on trying to be flexible and paying attention to what new announcements are being put out, and hopefully this framework is flexible enough to get me through. And now it's time for me to plan for April. I'm aware that this video might be a little bit late if you wanted to actually plan with me, like doing your April bullet journal setup at the same time while you're watching this video. But I hope that even if this can't necessarily allow you to plan with me, it can just be a relaxing distraction from anything that might be stressful in your life. The title lettering that I'm doing for April is very similar to that which I explained for my March setup, and it's just the same block letter drop shadow kind of effect, but with yellow instead of green. Isn't that exciting? So once again, I'm flipping back to my yearly goals setup in order to plan out my goals and habits for April. This time I decided to keep my self-isolation lifestyle in mind while I set up my goals and habits. In the latter half of March, I found that I kind of became an unproductive mess, for a lack of a better word. I'm not saying that while you're quarantined and potentially dealing with the stress of the coronavirus, you need to be focusing your life towards productivity, because that is not how life is meant to be lived. But I do like having a bit of structure and I guess a sense of purpose in my life, since without the regular time of day structuring that comes from going to school, going to practice, doing my extracurricular activities, it just feels like I'm drifting through the world. So I tried to set up my habits and my little daily tasks list in a way that would bring back a sense of normalcy and a little bit of structure in my life. Not too much, like I don't want to be my own drill sergeant, but I like a little bit of organization. Like, you watch my videos, you know this. For this reason, most of my habits and assigned tasks were just meant to bring back a sense of normal in my life. Doing the things that are creative hobbies, I guess, that are more, I don't want to say productive, because once again, like, that's not the kind of thing I'm going for right now. Like, things that take a little bit more effort at first, but actually do end up making me happier in the long run. Like reading a actual book that I'm interested in, rather than just browsing whatever shows up on my Instagram feed. I'm not going to try to hustle hard while I have time off. I'm just going to relax and try to stay healthy, and I hope the same for all of you. I post new videos every Monday if you'd like to watch those as a way to entertain yourself during this long time off. And I also post photos of my notes and bullet journal on my Instagram, which is at studyquill. See you next time!